This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1, verse 9. The thing that had been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. So giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rachakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the 144,000, as well as the rest of the elect. This is Brother Tazapar, here with you with another lesson. And I just wanted to further elaborate and expound upon the lesson I did last Thursday, dealing with Ishtar. All right, and yesterday, as we know, was ISHTA'R'S Day, or as you may be familiar with, Easter. You know, Easter Day. It has nothing to do with whom you ignorantly call Christ and who you ignorantly believe to be Christ. It has nothing to do with that at all, but everything to do, all right, with a specific entity or deity, left-handed, all right, that our people have idolized ever since we've been a nation, okay? And even before we became a nation, all right? I bet you, and we don't have the receipts, but I can pretty much guarantee you that Abraham's father, all right, was into Easter, all right, or what she represents. Because we know that his whole family, but, you know, especially his father was into the idolatry. And the proof of that is, look at our people, you know. But the real children of Abraham was going to stand against the idols, all right, of their fathers, as our father Abraham did. He stood against the idols of his father, all right, as we must stand against the idols of our fathers and mothers and grandmothers, your sweet Jesuses and your Allahs, because that's the main two, and sweet Jesus being number one, all right. We got to shake these things, but, all right, sweet Jesus is the disguise of ISHTA'R'S Day, all right? He was just incorporated into it to get the Christians to go along with the idolatry and the syncretism, all right, which is the joining of the secular, worldly doctrines, all right, infusing them with the doctrines of the scriptures. They call it syncretism, okay? But again, here the scripture says, Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 9, the thing that had been, all right? And in this, for this lesson, we're talking about Ishtar, all right? This is nothing new. It hath been, all right? And she goes by many names. I broke down a few of the names in the last lesson, but you can trace her, this deity is a female deity, all right, that's known as the Queen of Heaven, all right? And that's who the world was worshiping yesterday at Easter. They was worshiping that spirit of the Queen of Heaven, all right? Who is what in secular Christianity? The Holy Mother Mary. And that's what yesterday was about, you worshiping the Holy Mother Mary, which is blasphemous. Okay? And that's under that vibration of the Queen of Heaven, which goes back to probably Abraham's time of Sumer, or his people's time of Sumer, ancient Sumeria, was Ainana, okay? Now, Ainana was invoked to show you that these deities just are refurbished, repackaged, and then represented unto you. All right, Foxy Brown came out with I think her whole album, but she did have a song, and I think it was also the title of her album was the Il Nana, and that the Il Nana, you know, which she actually had. Il Nana sick coochie, if she was burning certain rappers, she really did have the Il Nana, all right, meaning You know, she's trying to say the good stuff, saying she got the good stuff, but that actually was an invocation of Ainana, all right, that ancient deity. And then look what happened to her, you know. Again, I don't know when she had contracted her STD, but these things happen. You take on these deities, these filthy, foul, wretched, decrepit deities, and that's what happened. And look, she ain't did shit since. You know? She ain't did shit since. I guess the ill nana. Well, one of the reasons why she went deaf, I think in one ear, it wasn't completely deaf, but she went deaf in one ear, and this is what happened when you serve these deities. All right, now she probably didn't even know she was invoking Ainana. Okay? Because I had no idea when the album dropped. I didn't find that till years later, coming into this truth that, oh, okay, that's the Ainana, the Queen of Heaven. Okay? And that's who she pretty much dedicated her whole album to. And nobody tells Jake, which, I mean, you really shouldn't have to, but for some people, you know, you do. But somebody need to tell our people the power of names, all right? When you start naming these children like an Antiochus or what's that other name? Tamar, you know, all these names. And like Foxy Brown took on the moniker of Ainana, invoking, or the Il Nana invoking Ainana, and you bring these energies, you invite these energies to yourself, all right, which could be demonic, left-handed energies, which would destroy you, all right? So when you name your children, name them after Israelites, all right? And none of that Bill and Ted shit. Give the name out the scriptures. Name your children after scriptures. Plenty of names. But yeah, that's the power of names, all right? And that's why we're going into this, because, you know, with this name Easter, people don't even have a clue that they're worshiping a powerful, a very powerful demonic force, spirit, or entity, if you will. Okay? This is one of the powers that run the world. And this is responsible. Let's go here. This is the spirit responsible for all of the feminine bravado or bravada. Okay? This whole women's liberation and all of that is fueled by the Queen of Heaven. Now this is Jeremiah chapter 7, and it says, I'm going to start at verse 15. And I will cast you out of my sight, as I have cast out all your brethren, even the whole seed of Ephraim. All right? And you read about this in Jeremiah the 3rd chapter, as well as Hosea the 1st chapter. The Lord, he prophesied, you know, that he was going to cast off the southern kingdom of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. All right, and this is the Lord, he's getting ready to do that right here. It says, therefore pray not thou for this people. Remember they told us, man, y'all wrong, y'all need to pray for Alizé. What kind of men of the Lord are y'all? Supposed to uplift your brother. Well, here go the Lord saying, therefore pray not for this people. Sometime when you go off, that's just your ass. You on your own. You do your own fasting and praying. All right? Because the Lord could turn around and get mad at you for praying for the wicked. And punish you. The Lord will punish you for praying for those whom he's cursed. Or don't want to be prayed for. All right? And that's why I say, man, we're at the point in this thing, but y'all that's on the outside looking in, we beyond. See, here's the thing. When you're on the outside looking in, you don't know the amount of hours that a man has put into his ministry. Just looking at that man. Now, you can tell by listening to that man, but I mean, that ain't even a good indicator, because most of the time we just keep it on a basic level, because we're reaching out to the hopeful elect who possibly hadn't even heard none of this. All right, or this may be their introduction. All right, your teaching that particular day may be their introduction into this truth, and so you want to keep it on a basic level for the most part. All right. So those that's on the outside looking in like a side netter, and to make these comments, all right, as if we just got in this thing, we clueless, we don't know what the fuck we're doing, that's offensive. All right. We do this day in and day out. I think we got this. All right. I think we know when we need to pray for a man and when we need to stay the hell away from a man. Because sometimes you need to stay away from people. The scripture even tells you that you got to cast people off for their very wickedness. All right. Now you Johnny come latelys, or you Johnny in and outs, you just pop up when some drama arise to throw around your 2 cents. You know? Yeah, that's highly offensive. As if, you know, like I'm gonna go to, let's say just on the electrical job, and I'm gonna just start telling the master electrician what to do. So I know a little bit about electrical. You know, I know a little something about electrical, but ain't no way I'm finna go on somebody's job and start telling them what they need to do on their job. Whether it's the master or his apprentices. That's none of my business. All right? And when it concerns Great Millstone, or even this gospel in general, all of y'all that chose your lane, stay in your lane. All right, you black power, get your black power ass over there and go preach black power. And if you Allah and Islam, you get your assalamu alaikum ass and go preach that. We don't go on your platforms and on your block fucking with you. So stay away from this gospel. All right, because y'all not authorized. Y'all are not authorized to consult anybody, let alone us. This is what we do. You know? So it would behoove all of y'all to shut the fuck up and let the men of the Lord do the men of the Lord's work. And that's what it is. So here we go, Jeremiah 7, and let's go back to 15. All right, Jeremiah chapter 7, verse 15. And I will cast you out of my sight, as I have cast out all your brethren, even the whole seed of Ephraim. Therefore pray not thou for this people, neither lift up your cry, or lift up cry, nor prayer for them, neither make intercession to me, for I will not hear thee. Seest thou, Salakia, seest thou not what they do in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem? All right. The children gather wood, and the fathers kindle the fire, and the women knead their dough to make cakes to the queen of heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto the other gods, that they may provoke me to anger. So this was back in the day. They would bake their cakes, all right, in honor of the queen of heaven for ISHTAR'S day. I don't know what they called it, or what they called it back then. All right. But today, the queen of heaven is worshipped as Easter, which I broke down, goes back to Ishtar, which is Babylonian. All right. Now I said it go back to Greece, But I believe Greece may have went with the Egyptian form of the god Isis. All right. So in Egypt, okay, again, let's go through it. Ancient Samaria, they had Inanna. Then the Egyptian empire rose, and they had Isis. All right. And Isis was big, for probably millennia, until you come down to the Assyrians and the Babylonians. All right. Oh, well, I'm skipping again. All right, after Sumer, or ancient Samaria, probably about the same time as Egypt. It could have been the same time. I don't know which came first, actually. But you had Ashtaroth, who I went into, of the Canaanites, all right? So they served the Queen of Heaven, the same deity. But they called her Ashtaroth. And we went into Ashtaroth, which means a star. And then in Egypt, she was Isis, all right? Same deity. So I don't know which came first, Ashtaroth or Isis. They probably, I'm sure were somewhat contemporary or contemporaries. But then when the time of the Babylonians came, the Neo-Babylonian empire of of Nebuchadnezzar, and him taking down the Assyrians, they would have been calling on ISHTAR. Okay. So in Samaria, Inanna. In Egypt, Isis. The Canaanites worshiped the Queen of Heaven as Ashtaroth. And then the Babylonians came, and she was Ishtar. All right? And this is what Ishtar goes back to, but it's the Queen of Heaven. The same spirit. All right? And the Lord, he forbids us, and this angers him. All right, when you worship and call on these deities. So it said that they knead their dough to make cakes to the Queen of Heaven. And in modern times, all right, those cakes were known as hot cross buns, because they would make the cross in the middle of the buns. And so you see how that fits in with Christianity because of the cross, but it's actually the letter T for Tammuz, all right? And that's why they bake the cakes for the Queen of Heaven, all right? So I guess the cakes, because Tammuz is the son of the Queen of Heaven, so I guess those cakes are representing fertility, all right? For the Queen of Heaven to bless them with fertility, either fertility in body or fertility in land, all right? That was a big thing, all right? These fertility cults and these fertility rites and rituals that they would do back in the day. So they worshiped the phallus. They worshiped the vagina, the Vesca Pisces. And that's the Queen of Heaven. When you see that Vesca Pisces, all right? And when you see the rod, that's Baal, Lord. Remember we went into how they worshiped Baal and Ashtaroth, all right? And so they got into fertility practices or rituals, all right? Ishtar for the female, the feminine aspect, you have Ishtar, and then Baal for the masculine aspect, all right, the rod. And this is why you see in Egypt again, they would have the obelisk as that male principle of the phallus. All right, and then you'll see they may have a pool of water nearby to represent that feminine principle. We all come through the waters of our mothers. So that principle of water is there. You see it in Washington, D.C. They got the mall with the obelisk standing before that little pool of water, the rectangular, long-ass rectangular pool of water. That's a fertility ritual, all right, in geography. What's the actual term? That ain't, shit. Architecture, maybe, but in that geological and architectural layout, all right, it's a whole rite and ritual in itself, all right? The whole layout of DC. But these practices and these things go all the way back thousands and thousands of years, all right? 5,000 plus years. All right, so there's nothing new. And that's why I wanted to start off with Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 9. It's nothing new. All right, so it says in Jeremiah 7 and 18 again, the children gather wood and the fathers kindle the fire. It's a whole family affair. And getting everybody involved. Don't that sound like Easter? You know? Daddy don't have to go to church no other time, but he'll have his ass there on Easter Sunday. Whole family get involved. So the children gather the wood and the fathers kindle the fire. And the women knead their dough to make cakes to the Queen of Heaven, right? Them hot cross buns. All right? And this is the whole Catholic ritual of Mardi Gras. Then you got Fat Tuesday, the last day to live it up before Ash Wednesday. And then Ash Wednesday, you go before your priest, your local priest, and you get that ash. They're going to put a T of ash on your forehead. So whether they make the actual T of Tammuz or they just make a little smudge, that's in representation of you weeping for Tammuz. All right? And that's the Catholic ritual. Around February, Mardi Gras starts, and then I don't know how long it lasts. And then when it comes to an end, it'll end with Fat Tuesday, the day before Ash Wednesday, symbolizing that you got to get all of your jollies out, all right, before Ash Wednesday, because they're going to mourn. That's what the ashes represent. And the cross, again, is the T for Tammuz. So they're going to mourn, okay, for Tammuz 40 days. And then comes Easter. After the fast, them fasting for Tammuz, Easter comes around. So look, go to your calendar and look at Ash Wednesday, and then count the days to Easter. And you have about 40 days or so. And what is that? That coincides with the Passover and the Feast of First Fruits. And you see these things kind of coincide with the high holy days, all right? And that's the Most High putting a stumbling block before the world. Because you say, oh, well, y'all just copying this and copying that. No, we are the original. We have the original blueprint of the high holy days and all of that. How they say, oh, Jesus is Mithra and Jesus is Osiris and all of this. No, they came after him. The Lord founded this world, all right? And all nations knew the prophecy of a coming Messiah. And so during the separation, the doctrine got misconstrued, misinterpreted. But the correct doctrine stayed with, well, Eber and Peleg. And then everybody else, when the separation came, they got a separation of the doctrine. The Lord wanted it to stay with that line of Peleg through Eber. All right? And so, cause we didn't write it down, we had an oral, like you talk to your son, we just passed it down orally. We didn't have a written record, but the other nations was writing records. That don't mean they right and we wrong. That's because we got a record later, but the account never changed. It's just that when we decided to write it, or when the Lord wanted it written, let's put it that way. When the Lord decided he wanted it put in the letter, instead of being passed down orally, the other people already had their versions of a Messiah in text. But just because theirs predates ours doesn't make theirs the legit, or the how they say, the genuine article. No, we have the genuine article. And see, the Most High put you in the trick bag like that. This is about faith. You can't go by, this came first, and try to intellectualize salvation. Salvation is going to come through faith. All right? So they was needing this bread for the Queen of Heaven, calling whatever they called her. They was probably using the Aramaic, ISHTAR'S. Well, no, the scriptures say they did. So they was calling on Baal and ISHTAR'S, and please come do this and help us and all of this. And the Lord sitting there looking at these silly, and good thing, the Most High is the Most High. And good thing he ain't emotional, because we would have been long gone. Because as a people, we are a sottish children. We're sottish. I couldn't picture myself calling on nothing else. No, nothing, anything. No one, no nothing. I couldn't see that. And to see some of the things Israel saw, back then, it could only be explained by divine. It was the will of the Lord for them to go off. But that's the only way you can make sense of it. So, it said, the women knead their dough to make cakes to the Queen of Heaven and to pour out drink offerings unto other gods, that they may provoke me to anger. And the Lord he's angry right now. His anger is getting ready to be felt. All right? But just a little bit on this Queen of Heaven to let you know that this ain't no joke, and this is a serious deity. This is the deity, again, that's prevalent and prominent in the world. All right, this is that whole, we went into it yesterday at camp, how a woman shall compass about a man. That's because of the Queen of Heaven. I forgot what they said that was. So here in Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 22, it says, how long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter? For the Lord had created a new thing in the earth, and this is new. This women liberation is new. Now you read about in the time of the the Medo-Persian Empire, or the Medo-Persian Empire, and you read about in the book of Esther how they didn't even want the appearance or a shadow of women's liberation to pop up. They was nipping that in the bud because they knew how detrimental that would be to a society to let women, to give them authority over a man. And Paul even wrote, that pretty much he forbid women to usurp the authority of a man. that a woman is not to usurp a man's authority, because that creates straight out chaos and will lead to destruction. Putting a woman in charge leads to destruction. All right? Or whatever you put in charge of your business gonna go under. Put in charge of your household, you're gonna end up in jail. And then your house is gonna be destroyed, or your family. We've seen it. We've seen it. This is the Lord showing us what happened. Babylon is the Lord showing us women in charge does not work. Now try to get that through a woman's delusional head. You can probably forget about that. But the men, the one that need to know, so that you're not giving over your power, all right, unbeknownst or in your ignorance. Stand in your masculine authority in dealing with women and even dealing with men. Stand in your masculine authority. All right. So this is that BT 1200 and 2400 that I forget his name. I ain't listened to him in so long. Tommy Sotomayor, when he came out, was talking about the Terminator, Black Terminatrix 1200, and then he upgraded it to 2400. The BT 2400 is, indestructible. The spirit of heaven, demon be on these women, and demons be with them. So you'll see them get hit by a car and get up still full of hell and vigor. Like Apostle Tahar said years ago, the black woman is hell on wheels. You'll see them just take a haymaker from a full-grown man and get up talking shit. That's all you got, nigga? Yeah, the Queen of Heaven. That's the Queen of Heaven, empowering these hoes. You texting your side piece and accidentally text your woman. That's the Queen of Heaven. To create that chaos. Little shit like that. How you ain't tell her your phone code, but somehow she figured it out. That's the Queen of Heaven. Shit, you at the room with your side piece and she just pop up out of all the goddamn hotels in the city. Then she popped up where your ass at, making a scene. That's the Queen of Heaven. The spirit is with these bitches to emasculate you. And if you ain't got Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai, you done. Not that you can't be masculine. There's masculine men out there that's not in the truth, that they don't take no shit from a woman. But then they gonna be destroyed. They ain't gonna win. Only the men of the Lord are gonna win. So I just wanted to go through that. I didn't have many scriptures, but Easter is a day of reverence. That's ISHTAR'S day. All right? ISHTAR day, so she could, so that the world can stop, commemorate, and worship Inanna, Isis, Ishtar, all right, in all her various names and forms. All right, unbeknownst, but y'all did the rituals. Y'all gave this bitch power. So now we just have to wait and see what kind of false flags or psyops they got coming down the pipe, because y'all gave them the energy. Y'all just gave them the energy yesterday, the Easter Sunday, and that's good, because they need to get the ball rolling so we can get the hell up out of here. All right, but yeah, we'll just wait and see now what they're gonna come with in the term of the, either false flag or psyop. All right, so y'all keep your eyes peeled and stay away from big crowds. All right, and to the next one, shalom.